and welcome our beloved viewers to RTD's News English Edition. As usual, we'll begin tonight's news with the major and top highlights as follows. Kickoff of activities in the United Region. Sustainable Electrification Project Steering Committee meeting. Ministry of Energy. And on the international scene, six hostages freed by joint action of defense forces and militias in Nigeria. Those were the major and top highlights. Welcome back to our newsroom, our beloved viewers. The chieftain of the regions of Unity was in excitement this morning to welcome the members of the government accompanying the Prime Minister, to the first of which the Minister of Social Affairs and Solidarity. The Prime Minister arrived by plane at the airfield of the city of Dekhel, accompanied by several members of the government and senior officials of the country. A warm welcome was given to this ministerial delegation led by the authorities of the region, the parliamentarians, and the Dekhel executives. The Prime Minister, Mr. Abdul Ghadir Kamil Mohammed, accompanied by the Minister of Social Affairs and Solidarity, Madam Ulufa Ismail Abdo, and other members of the government, headed to the infrastructure housing, the new fire station for the Dekhel region. This project of construction of this first fire station in Dekhel, the second one after Tajurra, is part of the first support project for the realization of socio-economic infrastructure in the promotion of economic activities in the regions. This important project was executed by the Djibouti Social Development Agency, which is also known as in its short name ADDS. This project is a response to the requests and needs of the population of Dekhel to prevent possible disasters and fires. The Prime Minister took the opportunity to visit the premises that make up this barracks, accompanied by the National Director of Civil Protection, Colonel Musa Mahmoud, and this barracks complies with the international standards in Citeria, and also concerned with the protection of the environment. That is why the Prime Minister and his delegation were invited to the symbolic planting of some trees in the barracks. In an interview granted to us, the National Director of the Civil Protection was pleased with the visit of the Prime Minister to the barracks and indicated that this barracks will respond in time to the needs of the population of this beautiful region of the Unity. In an interview given to us at the end of the visit to the fire station with the Prime Minister, the Minister of Social Affairs and Solidarity, Madam Ulufa Ismail Abdo, recalled that this action was as part of the National Week of Solidarity activities. For his part, the Prime Minister, Mr. Abdul Ghadir Kamil Mohammed, recalled that it was absolutely necessary for the people of Dekhel to have their own fire station given the demographic expansion that the Unity region is experiencing. The highlight of this day in Dekhel was the meeting at the Regional Council of the Prime Minister and members of the government with the authorities of the region and community leaders of the Dekhel region. Elders, notables, women, and youth have responded to the call of the Minister of Social Affairs and Solidarity, Madam Ulufa Ismail Abdo, as part of this National Week of Solidarity in the regions, whose top temperature was giving in Dekhel. It should be recalled that this National Week of Solidarity is an opportunity for the government to inform and educate the public on the many interventions and social programs of our country. And it is above all to improve the living conditions of Djiboutians in precarious situations, and in this perspective, several social achievements have been made in many sectors. In the fields of the implementation of the social protection policy aimed at strengthening the resilience of beneficiaries, this is the case here in Dekhel, where several actions and programs have been implemented through the Ministry of Social Affairs and Solidarity, such as cash transfers, social counters, but also various social projects that have been carried out thanks to the ADDS. This morning's meeting was about measuring the impact of mass programs and actions on the beneficiaries. The community leaders representing civil society and different associations expressed in turn their satisfaction and their enthusiasm for the different programs and social projects implemented here in Dekhel by the Ministry of Social Affairs and Solidarity. In his speech, the Minister of Environment and Sustainable Development, Mr. Mohammed Abdul Ghadir Musa Halim, was pleased to take part in this launching of the activities of the National Week of Solidarity. He recalled that his department has always accompanied the Department of Social Affairs in the promotion of social actions and programs. The protection of the environment, social actions, and sustainable development are all part of the everyday social action due to their nature to interact with the human being and to take care of his well-being. Speaking before his government colleagues in his Dekhel community, the Minister of Health, Dr. Ahmed Robli Abdillah, indicated that his department was actively participating in basic social programs by effectively responding to the needs and expectations of the population throughout the country. Indeed, the Ministry of Health, through its strategy of bringing health care closer to the people, has ensured that at least 8 health posts are active and operational in each region of the interior. But he specified that the region of Dekhel was the only region to benefit from 10 health posts to date. According to the Minister's 57 specialized doctors, general procedures and paramedics were working day and night to ensure the well-being of the people of Dakhil. These doctors treat all the known pathologies in the regions of Dakhil. The minister concluded his remarks by reminding that a psychiatric center will soon be built within the medical hospital center of Dakhil, and that this important program was a follow-up to the one of the first of the year. For her part, the Minister of Social Affairs, Madam Malouf Ismail Abdou, made a speech in which she stated that the National Solidarity Week initiated by the head of state in 2012 constitutes for the Ministry of Social Affairs and Solidarity a period of communication, information, dissemination, and awareness about the various interventions and social programs of the ministry. It was also an important stage for evaluating the resilience and efficiency of our social strategies and programs. Finally, it is also a good time to highlight the issues and challenges of anti-poverty policy in our country, she concluded. In his speech, the Prime Minister recalled that the National Solidarity Week was created at the initiative of the President of the Republic, His Excellency Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh, and that it is an opportunity for the government to inform and sensitize the public on the numerous social interventions and programs of our country, symbolizing the government's commitment to fight poverty and build a more resilient human capital in the face of shocks. The National Solidarity Week is also an opportunity to note the resilience and effectiveness of the various social programs and to determine the satisfaction of the beneficiaries in order to enrich our programs and in the future to better meet the expectations and needs of the vulnerable population. Further on, the Prime Minister reminded that our country has set up the reinforcement of human capital at the highest level of the national priority. That is above all a question of improving the living conditions of our fellow citizens in precarious situations. Also, in the achievement of this objective, many social achievements have been made in many sectors. More than 25,000 individuals or 4,338 households have benefited from free health care. 595 students from Dakhil enrolled at the University of Djibouti benefited from the University Catering Program, and more than 12,000 individuals, or about 1,576 households, benefit from quarterly cash transfers in the amount of 30,000 Djiboutian francs. With the new social protection project, the number of households will increase from 1,576 to more than 4,000 households, or to 22,400 individuals. 10,774 individuals, or 1,924 households, have benefited from food transfers. In terms of empowering, the Prime Minister indicated that more than 4,122 individuals have been able to create 736 income-generating activities through loans from CEPEC, and 576 young people have been trained, and 96 projects have been created under the Forge project. And finally, the first one recalls that the achievement of the ADS, which enriched the offers in infrastructure and market and non-market equipment through the construction of a civil protection antenna and the extension of drinking water supply for disadvantaged areas and the rehabilitation of the drinking water supply network, as well as development of a central market in Mulud and the rehabilitation of 3 community premises in Dakhil city. The meeting of the Steering Committee of Sustainable Electrification Projects of the Ministry of Energy was held today at the People's Palace under the co-chairmanship of the Ministry of Energy and Natural Resources, Mr. Yunus Ali Gede, the Minister of City and Urban Planning, Mrs. Amina Abdi Aden, and the Minister of Interior, Mr. Sayyid Hassan. The agenda focused on the overall progress of the PAID project, including the infrastructure of electricity. On this occasion, Engineer Awu Ismail, member of the steering committee from the Electricity of Djibouti, made the presentation of a summary report. The report defines that already more than 7,000 households have been electrified in the different districts of the city of Djibouti. Several officials and senior staff of different departments involved in the implementation of this project were present at the meeting, including the Secretary General of the Ministry of Energy and the Acting Director General of ESD and a representative of the World Bank. At the end of the meeting, the steering committee set the date for the next meeting scheduled for mid-March. The Investment of Businesses Forum Turkey Djibouti opened yesterday in Istanbul under the patronage of the Turkish Deputy Minister, Mr. Mustafa Tuzuzu, and the Minister of Economy and Finance in charge of Industry, Mr. Ilyas Musadawale. In the presence of 2 business committees, the forum was attended by UNDP and the Council for Foreign Economic Relations of Turkey. The Djiboutian delegation led by Mr. Ilyas Musadawale was composed of the Minister of Commerce, Mr. Mohamed Warsama Diriye, the Secretary of Investments for the Investment, Mrs. Safiya Mohamed Gadile, the President of the Chamber of Commerce of Djibouti, Mr. Yusuf Musadawale, the Ambassador of Djibouti in Turkey, Mr. Aden Abdillahi, and senior officials. The discussions focused on ways to further strengthen the economic and trade partnership between the 2 countries. The Deputy Minister of Trade, Mr. Tuzuzu, Djibouti Minister of Economy and Finance, Mr. Ilyas Musadawale, Djibouti's Minister of Trade and Tourism, Mr. Mohamed Warsama, and the Chairman of the Board of the Foreign Economic Relations, Mr. Nail Olpak, and representative of the business community of both countries participated in the Turkey-Djibouti Business and Investment meeting. The management of PDSA and DMP, the shipping agency of Savion Rice, are currently in Chennai, India, to participate in the first conference after COVID-19 on transshipment and vehicle handling, and the invitation of Automotive Logistics in India. The Djibouti team met with the MOL AS executives who came straight from the company's headquarters in Tokyo. The objective of this mission is to further develop the transshipment activity and to make Djibouti the essential hub for it. This morning, the National Technical Center for the Djibouti Soccer Federation hosted a ceremony to hand over batches of balls to MENFOP and soccer academies. The event, which took place under the patronage of the President of the FDF and Vice President of CAF, Mr. Suleiman Hassan Waberi, was marked by the presence of the Secretary General of the Ministry of National Education, Mr. Mohammed Abdullah Mahyoub, accompanied by senior officials of this ministerial department. Speaking on this occasion, the number one of the national soccer stressed that the excellent partnership exists between the FDF and MENFOP. We work, he said, in close collaboration to develop school soccer, but also national soccer. For his part, the Secretary General of the Ministry of Education, Mr. Mohammed Abdullah Mahyoub, stressed that the intelligent cooperation between the Ministry and the Federation and that this fruitful partnership and the fruits of the development actions of soccer that the Federation is conducting, the handing over of the ball is part of this spirit, said Mr. Mahyoub. The regional context of the Shamayi Foundation on the mother tongue, better known as Daris, was closed with the awarding of prizes at the People's Palace. The first 6 candidates of the first edition of the regional context on the mother tongue based another test to qualify, and finally 3 candidates won the great reward of the contest. The first winner, Ahmed Mahmoud Dahir, received a check of 540,000 Djiboutian francs. The second place was occupied by Muhammad Sharif, who received a check of 270,000 Djiboutian francs. And the third place was occupied by Muhammad Abdirrahman, who received a check of 180,000 Djiboutian francs. The closing ceremony of the regional context Daris on the Somali mother tongue took place in the presence of the President of the Commune of Bil'Ous, Mr. Abdul Qadir Amin, the Deputy Shukri Ali, the President of the Foundation Shamay, Mrs. Hayat Atiye, Director of Culture, Mrs. Fatuma Abdi Isa, and the Director of the CDC, Mrs. Ruqiyya, Mr. Farah Hayali, Coordinator of the Context, and finally, all the Directors of the CDC of the capital, of which Mr. Farhan Jama Asube was also present. As part of the Djibouti Zero Waste Project, the Mayor of Djibouti has continued in his activity of removing wrecks and carcasses of vehicles that have been left on the main roads and in garages. This morning of Wednesday, January 11th, 2023, the work continues in the commune of Bil'Ous and more especially in the sector of the neighborhoods of Humbuli and Aviation. The objective of the City Hall is to eradicate waste to beautify the areas of the capital, a campaign that meets a large adhesion of the population which made its own this project aiming at restoring the blazon of our country. The mayor urged the owners of these vehicles left on the public highway to show civic mindedness by protecting not only the environment, because these wrecks constitute a place for all stray animals, become a garbage dam, but also to harm the image of our capital. Moving towards the international scene now, violent terrorist attack on the Eguoben railway line in the Edo state in the south of the country. 31 people were abducted by the attackers, who were presented herdsmen armed with AK-47 rifles. The local government announced the release of 6 hostages. The Nigerian Railway Corporation temporarily closed the railway facility. Authorities fear a resurgence of kidnappings for ransom ahead of the February 25th, 2023 elections in the country. Well, by this, our beloved viewers, we finally conclude this edition. Thank you for being with us, and make sure to tune in later for more. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you once again for joining us.